NBC News has now confirmed that Jesse Jackson Jr. is the person named in the affidavit by Special Prosecutor, U.S. Attorney, Peter Fitzgerald, as candidate number 5, as the Senate hopeful who, at least according to the affidavit, had emissaries be in touch with Governor Blagojevich. Candidate number 5, Jesse Jackson Jr., according to NBC News. Federal officials caution that they have no evidence other than the statements made by the governor on those tapes about whether candidate 5 actually made any improper approaches to the governor. No conversations with the candidate were ever picked up on any bugs or any wiretaps. Pete Williams, our justice correspondent, is in the Washington Bureau. Pete, can you put this into context? Obviously, Jesse Jackson Jr., a rising politician and one of the people that was under consideration for this appointment.
Right, and no indication that he did anything wrong here. And you were just starting to get into this, Andrea. In the criminal complaint, the FBI says that Blagojevich was overheard in a conversation October 31st in which he is describing being approached by someone. And this is the quote: "We were approached pay to play that, you know, he'd raise me $500,000. Now he's talking about money for his re-election. An emissary came, the other guy would raise $1 million if I made him Senate candidate 5 a senator." But note what that is. That is a third-hand thing. That is Blagojevich saying that an emissary said this is what candidate 5 would do. So it's third-hand. The actual conversation with the emissary is not recorded on either the wiretap on the governor or on the governor's phone at his residence, or any of the bugs that were planted in the campaign office that were put in the personal office, his personal office in the campaign office, or the conference room. So there's no indication here that what exactly they just simply don't know. This is one of the things they're eager to look into. Jesse Jackson's office has put out a brief statement quoting him as follows. He says, since the investigation's going on, it would be inappropriate to comment, but he says, I reject and denounce pay-to-play politics and have no involvement whatsoever in any wrongdoing. I won't hesitate to cooperate fully and completely with the federal government's investigation, and in fact, the FBI has already asked him to come in and talk some more, as indeed they're doing with all the people who are mentioned in the criminal complaint, Andrea. There are a number of people identified as Advisor A, Advisor B, Consultant A, Consultant B, Fundraiser A, and then the various potential people that could be chosen for the Senate, who are called candidates 1 through 5. They're eager to reach out to all of those people now that this investigation has become public, something that they would have done if it hadn't become public. But of course, they said yesterday they felt they had to launch this now to prevent the governor from actually naming someone to the Senate or naming himself, which they say he was certainly discussing doing.
You know, Pete, in the political theater that this has now become, this is such a damaging issue for anyone involved, whether or not they had done anything wrong. And so we want to be very, very careful here, as you have been, in pointing out that there is no audio tape, no evidence at all that Jesse Jackson Jr. has done anything wrong. He's a rising star in the Democratic Party. He was elected back in 1994, has gotten some seniority now on the Appropriations Committee, and he is obviously a comer who has been actively acknowledging that he wanted this appointment, that he wanted to run for the Senate. He did not apparently have very much support from the governor, according to all reports, because there was some thought that even though he could raise a lot of money, he would not do very well at trying to defend the seat in 2010, because whoever is appointed would have to run in 2010 again, and it's the whole state, not just the city of Chicago and its environs. So he has a real political future, though, and for him to be involved and named this way is really, tough for him until anything is proved.
Well, and consider also that even if it's true that the emissary said this, who knows who the emissary is, A, and whether the emissary was freelancing or, just sort of spinning out all sorts of things that could happen, or whether the emissary had the blessing of candidate 5 to actually make these statements. So this is so many times, what we know is so many times removed from what the facts are, that we're in the same position the FBI is here. We just don't know. They flat say they don't know what actually happened here. That's one of the things they're going to investigate. So, to repeat, no one is saying that anybody other than the governor and his chief of staff, did anything wrong at this point.
Pete Williams, thank you very much.